Today my friend Tom and I are checking out a downhill racetrack in Karori, Wellington, called K-Hole. Neither of us have ridden the track before, so we'll be stopping to check out each major feature along the way. This first jump, known as Frankenbeans, is quite a long gap and requires a decent amount of speed to clear. And the tricky part about it is that it has a very chunky roll-in, so as you can see here we're having a bit of trouble clearing it properly. Thankfully they've recently added on a case pad to the back end of the jump, which is definitely helping us out here. This next section of track's fast and featureless, with one rooty off-camber technical section. So you can see here the track splits into an A and B line. The left line, being the A line, is a rather long hip jump with a pretty awkward roll in and an awkward roll out. So this is the roll in. You can see it's a bit of a wall ride with some chunky roots to throw you off balance. For a bit of scale, Tom's just walking over the down ramp now. So you can see the jump's about 3 to 4 bike lengths long.
And try and just get in here.
So we both tried a roll in and weren't really feeling it today, so I guess that's a challenge for another day.
I'm just going to go off the track a little bit and hopefully not a lot.
Tom's standing on top of the B-line drop here, which is known as deep in Cider, and you can see it's a pretty straight run to those jumps afterwards, but you've got a very off-camber landing, so we're trying to work out the best line to not end up in the bushes off to the left there. Here's a first-person view of the B-line. You can see I'm aiming for the top right of the down ramp. It's quite a sharp turn into it, but that sets me up nice and straight for these two doubles afterwards. And here's Tom's take on a bike check. Enjoy.
Ooh, bike check.
This next section of trail is a steep, off-camber S-bend. The main challenge with this section of trail is that there's a gap jump to clear afterwards, so you really need to hold your speed. So we're just discussing the best line to get around this corner. So we've got to go inside around this corner.
Yeah, you almost want to crawl into this.
And then just hold your speed down here as close to the tree as possible. I'm aiming for the high left in the entrance here, snaking between the route and slowing down to control my speed over this chunky section, which was a bit of a nightmare in a trail bike. Then I'm putting in 1 or 2 cranks before I hit that double. And here's Tom's run down that same section. Oh jeez.
Yeah.
Where the fuck's the landing? This next feature is a flat drop onto an off-camber bed of roots. I honestly couldn't find a good line, so I just went for it. That went okay. Here's Tom's attempt. I was coming in a little bit too slow for the drop and ended up pedal kicking off it, though it's not the kind of drop I'd want to go too fast off because that landing's pretty awful. Oh, we got some little drops.
Yeah.
This next section's a bit of a chute with 2 consecutive drops. You can see the first one's quite small and the second one steps up a bit in size. So there's not too much room between the two drops, so we're trying to go slow over the first one and send it a bit more on the second one. There's a big hip afterwards, but we're giving that a miss for today. This next section's pretty chaotic. You can see a low line on the left and a high line over the roots on the right. In the dry, both lines look pretty serviceable, but in the wet, this section of track is pure chaos. I opted for the high line, and my back wheel even got snagged in a root in the dry, so huge respect for those who raced it in the wet. This next chute has two line choices. The left line takes you straight down the guts, but it's a bit of a turn all the way around. The right line's over some pretty chunky roots and sets you up nice and straight for the chute. Doesn't look like much on camera, but this thing's basically a wall. After that, you've got a nice supportive berm followed by a gap jump. Tom ended up dropping into the chute from halfway up and pumped a little bit too hard into the berm to maintain speed. Thankfully he was alright after this crash. The final section of track consists of a steep chute followed by a river gap. Doesn't look very steep on camera.
No.
Nothing too technical here, I just imagine it would be pretty loose in all conditions. The final feature of the track is this river gap. It's quite long and low with a fairly narrow landing, so as long as you've got your speed and line right, it shouldn't cause any problems. I hope you enjoyed this breakdown of K-Hole. If there are any other tracks you'd like me to dissect in the future, please let me know in the comments below. As always, thanks for watching, and please consider subscribing.